So I don't like Super Mario Galaxy. And uh, before you start writing a comment on why I'm an idiot, I am an idiot, but not because of this. I don't like 3D Mario games, and I think that the reason that I don't like 3D Mario games is because they overcomplicate what is really a very simple game. The real fun of Mario games for me is controlling Mario. It's yes, sure, it's the music and the level design and the characters and you know, a little bit of the nostalgia, and I hate to say it, but a little bit of the rose tinted glasses. But what I really love is controlling the character of Mario and getting good at controlling that character. And it's very easy to get good at controlling Mario in a 2D plane, because essentially all you've got to worry about is jumping, so up and down, and moving from left to right, so your x-axis and your y-axis. And when Mario is jumping on a platform or jumping on a Koopa Trooper, he does a lot of jumping on things. That's a lot simpler in a 2D plane with a very 2D controller. Because when your enemy is, you know, sort of hobbling up towards you, you just need to worry about being above them and ensuring that you are on top of them when you come back down. When you transfer that mechanic into 3D, you also have to worry about depth. And unfortunately, at the moment, and maybe this will change with the 3DS, I really hope so, but at the moment, depth is incredibly difficult to do on, you know, a 2D screen. And of course it is. Of course it's difficult, because you're trying to sort of jam an extra perspective into something that can't really show it. Because if you think about perspective in the way or what your TV screen is showing you, if you were to pause that and just think about it in a sort of as a picture, it's really just it is just a 2D image. If you can trick your eye into seeing it, because of course we're so used to seeing things in 3D and that kind of thing. If you can kind of trick your sort of mind's eye into seeing that, it is really just a 2D image, because it can't jump out of the screen. And again, this is what maybe the 3DS is going to do. But that added layer of depth means that jumping on enemies is really tough, and hitting platforms is a lot harder. And I don't think that makes for a very fun Mario experience, does it? If a game is difficult simply because it's technically not up to scratch. And that's not to say that the mechanics aren't up to scratch and that they're not great looking games, because they are. But if the sheer technology isn't there, in so much as you literally can't see, you know, things closer to you, things that are closer to you than things that are far away, then that makes it difficult, and that makes it bad, surely. I think the other thing that I don't like about 3D Mario games is that they put so much focus on exploration. And for me, Mario isn't really about exploration. It's about moving from left to right, and there's a princess at the end, or maybe one of those fat fuckers, Toad, telling you that you've got to go to another castle, when really you should have gone straight to World 8. Let's be fair, Mario brings on himself. But it's certainly never been about exploration. Certainly when I was playing the original, or playing World, or playing New Super Mario Brothers on my DS, I wasn't thinking, wow, I would really like to explore this world. I think that is something that I would like to do. I would like to see every nook and cranny of this place. I want to see what's up. I want to move around in Princess Peach's castle in 2D. That's what I really want to do. And the reason that they've never done Princess Peach's castle in 2D in one of the platforms is because it wouldn't be fun to explore it in 2D. And I still don't think it's fun to do it in 3D. Likewise, so for Super Mario 64, that whole thing, I would much rather have been presented a menu with Giant Bob-omb World, level 1, or Icy Ridiculous level where you have to carry that fucking penguin about world. Select which world you want to go into. I would much rather have that. And in addition, when you get into those worlds, I want to be presented a path. I want some of the best levels in Super Mario Sunshine were the levels where there was just a movement forward, much like the Crash Bandicoot games. And they worked because that level design is much more tight, it's much more focused. Because when you're making levels in 2D, again, all the designer has to think about is, well, they haven't got depth. The character doesn't have depth. The player doesn't have to think about depth. So we can position each of these blocks in an exact way to facilitate enjoyment of navigating this world. In 3D, you've just got a colourful world which you have to deal with navigating in. Again, that's not fun. If I want an exploration game, I want something like Grand Theft Auto. I want something like, I don't know, like Africa on PS3. I want something where I go out of my way to actively explore these places because the exploration is the fun. But in Mario, it's not. The fun of Mario is jumping on Goombas. The fun of Mario is flying a raccoon tail thingy. You know, grabbing a leaf, chucking on a Tanuki suit and flying. And admittedly, there's some sort of exploration in so much as you can find secret areas, but I was never interested in secret areas, and I think most people probably aren't either. In fact, the most exploration I would argue most people did with the 2D games is in Super Mario Bros. 3, where they go and find all those bloody warp whistles, because you would get to the end of the game quicker, because that's what you want to do. You want to beat the game. You want to get to the more challenging areas, because the challenge is the fun. The actual challenge of defeating opponents and defeating the world that has been created in front of you, that has been presented to you, that's the fun. The fun isn't let's go over in this direction. Oh, I guess my objective isn't over here. Well, there's a box. I'll hit it. Great, some coins. It's difficult for me to explain how I feel about these games, and I've spent nearly a decade thinking about why I don't like 3D Mario games, and it is all the 3D Mario games. It isn't just Galaxy, and I just think that, and this is something that I'm hopefully going to explore at another time, but I think that there's a sort of institutionalized demand that people enjoy certain games. Another game I don't like, and again I will talk about this at some other point, is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Can't stand it. When you play it today, it's completely outdated. It's not impressive. It's got an incredibly warped sense of logic, and some of the mechanics in place are just there to lengthen the game, in my opinion. That magic eye thing where you look through a mirror and you see walls that aren't there, and no. But there's this institutionalized, almost forced, I would say, demand that you like certain games, and I feel kind of bad that it makes me feel kind of bad that I don't like them. It makes me feel bad that I don't like Galaxy. I think it's incredibly impressive, and I like some of the things that it does in terms of gravity and perspective and some of those things. But I hate most of what it's about. I hate the fact that there's a story. I couldn't give a crap. I could not care less about the plight of the Mushroom Kingdom. I care about running from left to right as quickly as I can, as efficiently as I can, doing these impressive 2D feats, and jumping on a flag at the end. I just, as I say, it's incredibly difficult for me to put this into words, and that's not good for a critic. But I hope that that's kind of talked a little bit about what I don't like about it. It's like a little ball of, not hatred, but a little ball of dislike, just sort of been sort of nurtured in me for a while, and unfortunately you've watched this and therefore you've kind of given me an outlet to talk about it. So who's at fault here? It's you. But anyway, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. So drop me a message on Twitter, which is at XeroXeroXero, spelled with an X, or leave a comment on the YouTube video, and let me know. Because if you agree, that would be great. If you disagree, I want to know why. So